Greetings, entities and guardians, my name is HyperHimes, and let's take a quick moment to talk about Cookie Run Tower of Adventures. You know, the most recent game that was released in the Cookie Run franchise that had released 2 separate betas before fully releasing. I know this seems kind of off topic, but trust me, it's important for later on. Personally, I really love the game, and despite it being repetitive on some aspects, in comparison to other games like OvenBreak and Kingdom, I think this game alone changes the game from design to ways of play and a bunch of other things. And not only that, but they even released cookies exclusive to Tower of Adventures as well, some examples being Crushed Pepper Cookie, Lemon Zest Cookie, and Cream Soda Cookie. It's really cool to see unique cookies specific to certain Cookie Run games appear with new cool designs and also their own amazing abilities utilized within those specific games. It makes them feel special in a way. Then again, one of the cookies decided to go ahead and speedrun being the fastest cookie to appear in another game from the same franchise. Yeah, I don't know about you, but it's pretty obvious who we'll be seeing in this update. That's right. Once again, it's time for us to talk about a new Cookie Run OvenBreak update. This update is actually really interesting because, as I mentioned before, because I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anyone anymore, we're going to be seeing Cream Soda Cookie straight from the game Cookie Run Tower of Adventures. And of course, before I go ahead and do my thing, let me just explain for the new people here what we do. What we do whenever we analyze a new Cookie Run teasers, like I said, we go ahead and analyze the teaser to see any interesting detail, we describe everything that we see in the teaser, then we check if there's anything noteworthy that we can go ahead and delve deeper onto, which basically I'm just winging this if you're wondering why I'm speaking so sloppily, but after that, we go ahead and theorize what we could possibly be seeing within the new Cookie Run OvenBreak update. Now again, before I go ahead and do all that, I need to make sure that I state this considering that, well, we're on the internet after all. The theories that I state in this video have a very high chance to not appear in this update. Don't take whatever I say in this video as guaranteed fact. I just primarily like to make these videos because it not only hypes myself up, but it could potentially hype you up for the update as well. And while this teaser didn't certainly have much to tell us, I think our main goal is to base it off one cookie, which is, you know, Cream Soda Cookie. Like honestly, I don't think there's gonna be much else to go off of. The video starts with us looking down at a coliseum with 4 giant banners down near the center, where a plate divided into 4 by a giant sun in the center of the plate is shown. Afterwards, a glare transitions the screen into some sort of an aquatic looking place with a large fountain. The camera zooms out, showing us some aquatic pillars, and slowly goes to the left, showing us more of this water-filled area. Soon, it's slowed down in front of a waterfall, where Cream Soda Cookie would walk in from the left, thinking for a moment, and then adjusting her hair. The screen then fills with a wave of water, and then we see the text, "If you assume I'm all soft, you'll pay dearly," with a little cherry floating down. The screen would then get slashed, which then we would see the final part of the video saying, "Cookie Run OvenBreak, Rise and Shine, Valorous Sun Tournament. Grand reveal on July 24th, 0500 PST and 2200 KST. Again, it's not really hard to talk about how this cookie would work or even who she is. I mean, come on. Here's how she looks in Tower of Adventures, and here's how she looks here. Do I need to convince you any more? Well, with that being said, what about everything else? I mean, we can't just guess a whole update based around one cookie, right? Well, you would be surprised, but we actually don't have to rely on just Cream Soda Cookie. What we need to focus on more is the location that this is taking place in. Do you remember the first scene with the Coliseum? Well, from what I remember from the deep lore of Cookie Run OvenBreak, this is supposed to represent the Grand Champions League. Now, if you don't know, the Grand Champions League is where the best of the absolute best must compete against each other to earn the rightful title of being a Grand Master. However, it's not that simple. The Grand Champions League is divided into 4 divisions, which are represented by the banners that we see at the beginning. These would be Glacier, Plains, Ocean, and Desert. Now match this with the fact that the update is literally going to be called Valorous Sun Tournament. I'm pretty sure we're going to be dealing with some competitive gameplay to say the least. Now that is kind of all that I have for right now because there are some other details that I have but I'll get into later. But what does even the Grand Champions League have to do with Cream Soda Cookie? Well, as I mentioned before, you'd be surprised if you haven't guessed it yet. Like, I'm serious, can you not tell or do I need to give you like another minute? I think we're going to have a story based around the Grand Champions League, and we'll be meeting 4 new cookies, just, you know, only 2 will be playable. The cookie we already know we'll be seeing is Cream Soda Cookie because they're representing the Ocean Division for the GCL. Why did she enter? Well, she wanted to prove that despite her cutesy looks, she wanted to stand her own against the best of the best. However, while she realizes that she is strong in certain aspects, like most likely swimming, there are some other aspects that she won't have the upper hand in. She'll have to breach through these challenges to ensure that she not only wins the whole tournament, but also she wants to make sure that she wins while looking strong for everyone. Now, of course, as I mentioned, there's going to be 3 other cookies that she's going up against, one from the desert, one from the glacier, and one from the plains. And while I don't know exactly who the other cookie would be, I think it would make sense to have the other cookies arrive from the desert region, considering it's represented by fire, being the opposite of water. Sure, they could be cookies that are already in Cookie Run OvenBreak, but you know what would make this really funny? what if I just assume that the other cookie that we were getting specifically from the desert region is crushed pepper cookie? Yeah, that's right. If we're gonna go all out with the Tower of Adventures content, we're gonna go all out with it. Now, the details are going to be harder to describe because Crushed Pepper should be an antagonist in the story, but I doubt that's going to happen. Considering that it's Cookie Run, it's all probably gonna turn to a friendly competition thing at the end where no one gets angry at all in the slightest. I mean, if it does happen, I'm actually gonna be surprised. So how will the new cookies and pets work? Well, let's start off with what's obviously known, being Cream Soda Cookie. This one is kinda predictable because we already know how her skill works in Cookie Run Tower of Adventures. Casually, she swings her blade to fight back enemies, and then she has her super, which causes a major swing to a majority of the enemies around her. I think passively, she takes out her blade and starts slashing at certain targets for points, and hitting all the targets will provide a great amount of points. Oh, and of course, that magic candy she has, it activates her super, and the very last target gets hit with her super attack, giving a large amount of points. Now for her pet, considering that this is a creamy soda cookie that we're talking about, why not make the pet a bottle of Fizzy Pop? After a little bit of time of running, this Fizzy Pop soda bottle is going to charge up with more carbonation, and eventually, its top will blast off and start spraying whatever's in front of it with a wave of soda, destroying everything in front of it with the soda stream. Now, as I mentioned before, I predicted that the other cookie that we'd be also getting is Crushed Pepper Cookie as a playable character, because why the pleb not? Considering how he tends to punch a lot in Tower of Adventures, I wouldn't be surprised if this Pepper Cookie had to punch a ton of targets to knock them down for points, and of course, the magic candy activates their super, where he rises up in the air and then slams down onto the last target for a great amount of points. For a pet, I know we already have a few pepper pets, but I want this pet to, no joke, be a pair of pepper boxing gloves. Since they're, boxing gloves, they would occasionally just randomly punch obstacles until they shatter, turning into pepper boxing points to collect as they drop to the ground. Lastly, with this new update, there's bound to be a new treasure, and I would think that it's probably just gonna be a bubbly root beer float, considering that we're dealing with soda and stuff like that in this update. This is definitely not gonna be true, but I imagine that over time with this treasure equipped, your energy would actually be heavily reduced. However, it only lasts for so long. Once the treasure is out of juice, as if you had just finished drinking it, then your energy drain would revert back to normal. Is it time for costumes to be talked about? Well, good, because I was actually having a few thoughts about it. Firstly, I know for a fact that the two new cookies are going to be receiving costumes for the update because it's just a normal thing at this point. Next, the two cookies that I don't think you expected are either Raspberry Mousse Cookie or White Chocolate Cookie. I know that sounds weird, but at the very start of the teaser video, we actually see a pair of fencing blades across from each other. I know it seems like a stretch, but I'm going off of anything here. I'm legitimately claiming that Crushed Pepper Cookie is also appearing in OvenBreak. Do not judge me. And also, basing it off of the other regions of the Grand Champions League, which are Plains and Glacier, I think either Snow Sugar Cookie could be getting a costume, and maybe a cookie like Pistachio. I know it seems really weird for me to say her out of all cookies, but considering that Rockstar, who is also a rare, got a costume in the last update, and also just trying to think of a cookie who could represent the Plains specifically, it was just really hard to choose. Please don't judge me again. Finally, as we're near the end of the video, we can go ahead and talk about what to possibly expect from the new update in regards to events and game modes and stuff. Of course, they're going to be bringing back the obligatory story game mode where you have to run a bunch, meet cookies to progress the story, and do it 3 or 5 times until you beat the chapter and unlock hard mode. Do it once for each update, and you're on your way. Not to mention the degrading story missions you might want to complete for the extra tidbits of lore. Considering the setting of this whole update, I'm pretty sure that the Grand Champions League is making a comeback for this update. I mean, remember, this game mode requires absolute perfection of you. Like, I couldn't even get past round 1 last time I played it. I sucked. Also, remember in the Sweet School Band update where there was an event about school clubs and guessing which cookies were a part of what clubs to unlock little stories and loot? Well, why not bring that back again, but for the cookies based around the GCL regions like Glacier, Plains, Desert, and Ocean? I think it would just be fitting. New daily gifts are going to be given out, there's going to be a new jelly set available for purchase, $10 pet costume, and also there's going to be a Rainbow Cube coupon code revealed at the end of the update review video. Now of course, at the end of all these videos, I need to make sure that I state this. Complete any event and collect any loot from the current update that's going on right now, or anything similar before the new update arrives, because when it comes, they're gone for good. But what do you all think? Do you think that some of my ideas are actually crazy, or would you actually end up agreeing with them? I don't know, but be sure to leave it down in the comment section below, and also be sure to comment down if you are excited for this update as well, considering that, well, we're getting Cream Soda Cookie, who's coming straight from another Cookie Run game, which I think this is a very first, which, of course, is not the first time where a Cookie Run character from one game appeared in another, but this is the first time for Tower of Adventures, and that's basically what I'm talking about. But still, anyway, if you enjoyed this little theory video, then be sure to leave a like on it, and also share the video with your friends if you enjoy my Cookie Run content, and if you enjoy my content in general, then why not subscribe, and also hit the bell icon and be notified of whatever I do in the future, and also down below in the description button, you will see links to all of my social media, including a Twitter post where if it gets 10,000 likes, I can get the Kick Your Run YouTube stuff for absolutely free. There's a link to my Discord server called the Hypebeast Hub. There's a link to my merchandise where you can buy stuff to represent the channel. And lastly, there's a link to my Ko-fi where for just $1 a month, you can see exclusive content that you wouldn't normally see in this normal YouTube channel. But above all else, I will see you entities and guardians in the next video. Hail the Hypebeast!